I'm a trader, I'm an educator, I'm a content creator, but the content creation part sometimes for me is like pulling teeth. So now I'm almost embarrassed to say how well I've done this year because it is such a big percentage, but totally different
Can you
realm.
tell me what it is, Tori? I want to know. You would recommend friends and family to try learning to trade?
Nope.
All right, guys, welcome back to another video. This is actually the second episode I'm doing here with Tori. We did one recently, which did really well on YouTube, like blew up on my channel. And we're bringing her back for some more content to talk more trading. And Tori, last time you were here, you did a whole bit on, proving your profitability and we cornered your results and all that. We had the broker statements. And so this time I was hoping we could do something a little bit more lighthearted, but yes, we're going to have a little bit more fun this time. But Tori is, if you guys don't know Tori, and you know me, then I don't know what you're doing wrong, because Tori's the super popular trader on socials right now. Tori has been all over the place. She's got a very simple kind of approach to the markets, has proven her profitability on our last video that we did, where we did broker statements, and we will link that in the description if you'd like to go watch that video first. But Tori, today we're doing something kind of fun. Before we do that, can you just give anybody who doesn't know you already just a little bit of background about yourself and what you do?
Yeah, so I've been trading for 9 years now. I was taught by a family member. I didn't realize this before I got into social media, but apparently I trade a very unconventional strategy. Oddly as that sounds, it's just basic, but I trade trend lines, mostly trend line breaks. I am trading the futures market. I am a swing trader now, officially a year. Oh my gosh, the end of this year will be 2 years of swing trading. That's wild.
You've switched to swing trading, which is my favorite thing too. I love the time freedom to a degree. There are downsides, and I'm sure we'll get into that here, but there's definitely some serious pros too. I think it's like the less, honestly, less stressful in some ways, more stressful in others, but there's give and take. But anyways, Tori, I've got a list of things here, so we're gonna play a game on today. So again, we're staying more lighthearted. Last time we were proving whether or not we're legit traders or not. This time we're just gonna talk some trading topics, and I've put together a list of somewhat controversial things that people discuss in the trading world. Okay. And I want to get your answer, and I'll share mine as well, on whether or not we agree or disagree with some of the common misconceptions or thoughts in the trading world. So it's a pretty easy game, but we've just got a list here, so we can jump right into it if you're ready.
Yeah, let's do it.
Before we continue, I wanted to mention today's video sponsor, Vantage. Vantage Markets has been in the industry for a long time and offers a great list of symbols and tradable assets to traders outside of the US looking to trade things like CFDs, Forex, etc. Now, the reason I really like Vantage for people outside of the US especially is because whether you trade indices or crypto, or even want to trade equities from outside of the US, pretty much every market is available to you within their platform. Additionally, right now, Vantage is offering some pretty generous deposit bonuses that you can find out more information using the link in the description down below. Vantage can also be traded directly on tradingview.com, which is an awesome feature. They offer MetaTrader, and of course, they have a great list of educational resources available to their traders within their platform. So check out Vantage Markets down below in the description. Now back to the video. All right, first one, agree or disagree? Paying for proper education is necessary in order to learn how to trade. Do you agree or do you disagree with that?
I agree wholeheartedly. I think wholeheartedly. Unless you know something that somebody else doesn't, maybe you know yourself so well and you're like, I am a self-made person. I'm going to make this work. It's going to take me longer, but I'm going to do it myself through trial and error. Then do you, boo. But otherwise, if you're just simply trying to get from point A to point B as quickly as possible, get the knowledge, the information, and then kind of work whatever system you've learned. Yeah, long story short, we're going to go with agree.
Okay, fair enough. Because, when it comes to education, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, I would have been in the camp of no, you don't need to pay for anything. There's so much free value on the internet. But maybe there's something to be said that there's so much value on the internet, or so much content on the internet, that it can be really hard to piece it together well enough to actually formulate step-by-step approaches to, actually making money in the markets. I would actually think that like my answer shifted more and more over time towards like paying for education, especially if you're someone who's like, I don't want to spend so many years learning,
Yeah.
is huge. I actually think that so the full answer for me would be like, I think you can learn how to trade without paying for anything, but I think it's going to take you a heck of a lot longer, and time is money. I mean, we're all busy people. So like if something can help you shortcut the process, or maybe just like learn something that, it would have taken you a lot longer to learn yourself, I feel like that's huge. So,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
that was a good warm up round. We've got some more fun ones coming. So, all right, so this one is a little bit stronger take, and again, going off our first episode, I'm pretty sure we'll have similar answers on this. But number 2 is traders should not watch someone or learn from someone who doesn't show any sort of live trading results. Do you agree or do you disagree?
I mean, that's the easy one. You definitely should not. I was trying to be funny, but no, you definitely shouldn't. That's like the easiest one to answer. It's if like then at that point, what are you getting out of it? Like, what are you getting out of the person that you're watching? Is it just the lifestyle? Are they selling a dream to where you're like, I want the dream. I don't care if the results are right. So
Yeah.
it seems like that one's an easy answer. And it should be something that I'm coming to find is it should be easy to find the data, the statements, the results, the track record. But as someone who does post it, so many people think that I don't even like. I can't make it accessible enough. It's like you've got to do I need to continue to post track records like every few months, every month? And then even so, it's people just. I'm trying to figure out how I can make it more accessible so people can see my results. But then at some point, it's like it's still not accessible enough. Like it's almost like I need to be posting every day.
That's so true. And I think that, it's kind of a trick question because, you and I would have the same answer. Like, okay, obviously you shouldn't learn from somebody who doesn't show you that, lead by showing that they actually do it. But what's odd about it is that so much of the trading community doesn't realize this and also doesn't follow that rule. There's so many people who follow and spend so much time. I know we went on a long, monologue last time about how like, people investing so much of their time watching people who have not proven anything. Like you might just be throwing away countless hours of your life, and this
Oh
person
my
that you're
gosh.
watching is just generating ad revenue. So it's like, you got to be careful out there. So I agree. I just wanted to also call that attention because you do share, your results. I do my best to share mine as well. And I agree with you. It's almost like I have to, like, whenever I'm live streaming, pull up trades, show things, because people are constantly like, this doesn't work. And the reason you have to respond to that, some people will, be like Nick or Tori, they'll say like, you don't have to prove yourself. We know you're legit. But the answer is like, I consistently feel that I do need to prove myself.
Mm-hmm.
Or the people who are like on the fence about like, should I be watching this person or not? Like, I want to like, and I imagine you probably feel the same way.
Yeah, I want to get to a point where it doesn't feel like it's coming from like a bad place. Like I
I
have to, like
know.
I'm defending myself. I want it to be like come on in, guys. I'm the person you can
Right.
trust. I mean, that sounds weird. I feel like I'm
No,
Hansel
I
and Gretel the
know.
witch. Come in, trust me. But
And like
I want it to
with
be that point.
yeah, go ahead. I was just gonna say like the concept that you're alluding to is actually so interesting because like so much of like sharing your track record feels like you're bragging or like
Oh, yeah.
self-promoting. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like really it's not about that. It's just about like, stop what you're doing and like whether it's me or someone else, just make sure that who you're watching actually does this and is not afraid to like show you their ups and downs. I also think it's probably not the best thing when people only ever show you like I'm winning X amount of dollars and they never ever talk about like when something's going wrong.
Yeah.
Um, and I will say, Tori, like showing a loss is so painful because
Oh,
people
I
jump
know.
on you. You know what I
I
mean?
know. I just recorded one last night. Actually, I had a content day. It's funny enough. I'm a trader. I'm an educator. I'm a content creator. But the content creation part sometimes for me is like pulling teeth because it's like
Hmm.
setting up, getting everything ready, sitting down, and then finally by the time you're ready to record, It's like 3-4 hours later and you're like, I'm done. I actually don't want to do this anymore. But last night I recorded one of my losses and I had to, it was not fun. Like, and I haven't even posted it yet, but I'm just already imagining all of the feedback that's going to be so negative. And it was like, yeah, man, it wasn't the best setup. I took a loss and it wasn't. And then there were even wins that I had where I'm like, this also isn't something I'm proud of either. And it's such a bummer to have to do that. And I wish people could be like, oh, okay, well, better luck next time. But instead they're like, you idiot.
Yeah, I want to talk about that for a second because I think that sharing losses it's so difficult because you get so much like so many of the hindsight keyboard warriors will just come out of the woods on you. Like you never see these people commenting on anything. And then suddenly when you take a loss, they have a full explanation to why you shouldn't have made that dumb mistake. Like it was so
Yeah.
obvious. I wanted to shout out today's video sponsor, Vantage, because they do actually have a huge library of great trading education available to people who are using their platform. You can find out more about all of these helpful educational resources with Vantage Academy. So again, if you have not already checked out Vantage, there's a link down below in the description. There's also some sign-up bonuses there available as well, but they offer a really great library of resources for traders looking to learn. So why pay for something when you can get it for free, especially when it's this level of quality? Now back to the video. But yeah, that's just people are always going to have something to say and they're going to, find a way to critique what you're doing. But I think for listeners, Tori, obviously like you and I have that on the content creation side, but I always like to reel it in and talk about how that actually applies to every trader because we do it to ourselves. I mean, the only reason I feel like sometimes that bothers me is I'm letting this bother me. Sometimes I have to like kind of purposefully, take a pause and be like, okay, these are just random people on the internet, but it's my own kind of internal psychology, internal voices that are like, oh, you shouldn't have taken that trade. It was really obvious. Like you broke this rule, you broke that rule. And it's like, maybe the trade was just actually a good trade. It just didn't
Oh my
work
God.
out. Is that fair?
Right? Totally. Oh my gosh. Yeah. To be honest, maybe if I could go back in time and tell myself that yesterday, because I was so hard on myself. I'm like, man, like it was okay. It was mediocre. Like, but I really I was hard on myself. I was like, I'm not excited to post this. I shouldn't have done this. I risked too much here. I held it for too long. I didn't close exactly according to the strategy. All those things. So yes, I know exactly what you're talking about there.
Yeah, and I think for listeners, one thing that I think is like so important is I've heard people say this, it's not my wording, but the idea of a trade being a good trade has nothing to do with the P&L at the end of the trade. Like a good trade is a good trade because you stuck to your rules, you know your system, you're sticking to your system, and the P&L at the end is irregardless of what it looks like, you should be able to say whether or not it was a good trade based on like clicking the right buttons at the right time, doing the right, rules and systems. Would you agree?
Totally. That's what a lot of my videos yesterday, I was just kind of recapping the minimal amount of trades that I've taken this year. And it's strange as a whole, I've done excellent this year. And to be honest, I'll be totally, totally honest with you. I've heard some of your content and where you talk about, traders that flip accounts or make more than X percentage, it's not sustainable. And so now I'm almost embarrassed to say how well I've done this year because it is such a big percentage, but that also has nothing to do with, it's totally different realm.
Can you tell me what it is, Tori? I want to know.
We're at 140, 130%.
That is awesome.
Okay. So, but, as a whole, yes, that sounds amazing. Like, 140, 130, that's incredible. But then when I'm going back and dissecting each trade, like, yes, this was a $10,000 profit. This was a $10,000 profit. Both of those trades were crummy. Those were actually crummy trades. Even though we ended in the positive, crummy trades. There was a loss that I took, actually. I took a $6,000 loss, maybe, I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago. To be honest, excellent. Beautiful loss. That one I'm actually proud of, even though it's a loser, but it's so crazy how different. It could still be a winner, it could still be in profit, but it's the trade itself, entry, exit, strategy, rules. That's what makes a good trade, not the P&L, to piggyback off that. Yeah.
That's so true. I mean, there are times where you take like a loss and you're like, okay, this was actually everything hit and like on those ones, I will defend the comment section way too hard. I'll be like, no, I did this right. I did this right. I did this
Yep.
right. I just didn't make money on the trade. But yeah, no, it's true. And also in terms of like P&L, in terms of like returns, it's all it's all relative, you know. So like if you're up 50% in a year or 20% in a year or 100% in a year, it really depends the type of year, because I think we discussed this last time. Like we both typically tend to prefer years that are very trendy. So
Hmm.
like there were years, I think in 2023, I think I was up like 35% or something, which is a really big year for me. I have a really, really low like risk tolerance. I mean, I still have risk tolerance, but I just prefer to keep my drawdowns as small as possible. And so I give up the, you know, the potential to make more. I get that comment. That's one that I get a lot. Is like,
Oh,
why don't you get like
ironic.
60% or 70% just by applying leverage to what you're doing? And I'm like, because I don't want the smoke when I have a down year. So, you know, it's like
Amen.
you kind of have to accept, if you're going for higher returns, the swings are going to be more violent, and vice versa. If you go lower, you're not going to have as big of returns. So, kind of a personal preference, just depends on what you're good with. But let's move on to our next one, because I got a couple
Okay.
more I got to get through. All right, next one: to agree or disagree with. Flashy traders are a red flag.
Ooh, flashy traders are a red flag. Oh, um, I know both. I know some that aren't and some that
Mhm.
are. So that's a
Yeah.
really tricky one. Uncle is the epitome of not a flashy trader. He wears the same shirt every single day, has never bought anything fancy in his entire life.
Mhm.
His wife drives, my aunt drives a 2016, like, big old truck, and
Yeah.
they're not flashy at all. But then there's some that I know that are flashy, but I know have a track record, are
Mhm.
incredible traders. So man, that's actually a tricky one. I'm gonna say usually the flashy ones are not actually. So we'll just go for the benefit of the doubt. If they are flashy and have a proven track record, they are like a diamond in the rough. So
That's
I'll go
that's a
with,
good answer.
yeah. For the most
Because I
part, if
feel
they're flashy, no go.
Yeah, because I feel like most of the time it's like, okay, come on. But then every once in a while, it's like they can be flashy, and if they actually can show the results, then hey, you know, do them. And that's a personal choice to be how, you know, how much you want to share on the internet or not. But like,
Yeah.
if you have a track record, then you know it's kind of the same thing we said last time about like, if you have a track record, it's like full rights to sell stuff, because you
Yeah.
have the skills to pay the bills, kind of thing. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's fair. Okay, next one is, you would recommend friends and family to try learning to trade.
Nope. Absolutely not. I've got so many. I mean, my sister wants to learn again. We learned together. 9 years ago, we were sitting at a desk listening to my uncle, looking at the charts, and here we are 9 years later. She wants me to teach her now. And
Mhm.
I'm going to do it, but it's just so hard. I mean, maybe she at least maybe knows. She's seen the whole process, the whole struggle, and she's still my lifestyle, my time freedom. She still is intrigued by it. She still wants it. So enough so to know that this could still take her even more time.
Mhm.
She's willing to learn. So I think for the most part, no way do I want to teach friends and family, just cuz I
Yep.
mean, you know how hard this is. It's just I wouldn't
Mhm.
wish it upon anyone.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. Is like, when somebody asks me that, when somebody asks like, "Hey, do you think you could like show me how to get into trading?" I'm like, "Oh, I just don't know if you want the smoke. I don't know if you want the
Yeah.
agony, the years of pain, the difficulty." So I'm kind of in the same camp. I think for me, it's like if they ask me multiple times and they say like, "I've been watching these videos that you've done. I'm learning about this." If they start showing me like an actual interest, not like, oh, I want the money and the exposure, and like that's different. Like if I
Mhm.
hear that, if people are like, oh, I want to just like kick the 9 to 5, I'm like, nope, not gonna happen. Like,
I'm not your guy.
I'm, yeah. So that one's a tricky one. For those of you guys who are outside of the US, I wanted to make a quick mention of the different CFDs and things that today's video sponsor Vantage offers. So with their CFD platform and all the different things that you can trade, you can see there is a very wide basket. You can trade Forex, indices, precious metals, soft commodities, energy, ETFs, share CFDs, and bonds. And the cool thing here is that this is all under one brokerage. Many times people have to open up multiple to do all the trading for these, but because of their CFD offerings, you can see that you can trade pretty much everything. And what's cool here is that, like, if you're to, for example, select indices, you can see that they also offer pretty generous leverage. So you've got 500 to 1 here, which of course, this is a very advantageous thing in terms of, how much capital you need in order to cover the different things. I know indices, especially on lower, leverage, can be difficult for traders, but them offering 500 to 1 or 200 to 1 in certain circumstances is really, really quite a positive thing. So if you'd like to learn more about this, the link will be down below in the description to check out Vantage. Remember, they do have that sign up bonus. And of course, you can head over to their website if you want to take a closer look at all the different options that are available here for everything from soft commodities, energy, to ETFs, all under one singular broker. Another thing that I would highly recommend is if you're a new trader looking to get started in trying this stuff out yourself, stick to a demo account. You'll thank yourself later. And today's video sponsor, Vantage, does of course offer demo accounts for their traders. So if you'd like to try out your hand at trading and get started by practicing before you get into the live markets, check out Vantage down below in the description. I think it's worth your time to take the time to actually set up a demo account. Go one step at a time, take this slow and steady, and refine your skills before you start putting hard-earned money to work. Okay, so next one is trading is gambling. Agree or disagree?
No, it's not. And gosh, I've had to defend that since day one. Man, at least I'm a swing trader now, so I feel like I have a little bit more, like I'm a little bit more professional, because people think day traders are the gamblers.
Yeah,
so I'm like,
no, that's so true.
I'm actually a swing trader. So now I feel more comfortable saying I'm a swing trader versus when people asked what I do for a living and I told them day trader, they're like, oh, you mean gambler? I'm like, okay, here we go. Let's do the spiel. It's not like gambling. There's calculated risk. There's probabilities involved. It can be gambling, and I'm sure most people do treat it like gambling. They're just like, let's see what happens. Let's place an order. Is it going to go either way? How much am I going to put it all on the line here? So I think most people probably do treat it like gambling, but I'm going to have to disagree. It is definitely not gambling.
Okay, fair enough. Next one is great traders wouldn't waste time selling courses and making social media content. I know, obviously, our answer to this, because we both are the evil, course selling, education selling monsters of the internet. But I guess more of the question for you is, or in terms of response, why is that not true?
I have so much time freedom. What do you mean? You think that I am shackled to my desk and I'm trading for 9 hours, 12 hours out of the day and I can't do anything? Like, absolutely not.
Well, you're not a day trader anymore. You're a swing trader.
Well, that's fair. That's fair also. There were times where I was in front of the screens for at least 8 hours out of the day. Shouldn't have been, or 6 hours out of the day. Futures, stocks, whichever one you're trading. But I'm going to say, like, absolutely not. To be honest, content creation is a hobby of mine. Like, this is fun. Sometimes I say that now when I said it was like pulling teeth earlier. For the most part, it is very fun. But now it's different when now I have to actually, like, I got to hit a deadline. I got to hit, like, a video on Tuesday because I got a team now. So it's fun. Like, it's not, and even the course selling. I think I have found a talent of mine. If I wasn't very good at teaching or being in front of the camera, I think, to be honest, that wouldn't make any sense. If I'm really good at trading, but for some reason I'm trying to make like social media work, even though I'm not good at it, and I'm trying to teach, even though I have no way of communicating or conveying things in a way that people can understand, I could see that. But I'm going to say absolutely not. You can totally do all the things you'd like. You can be an educator, you can be a content creator, and you can still have time to trade.
Yep. And I think that the add-on to that too is, like, I actually get the concern when people are like, oh, this person is obviously putting so much effort into putting out content and sharing this. And clearly, like people feel like, and hate to feel like, they're being sold to. But the truth is, if we go back to the track record thing, back and forth over and over again, it's like, if somebody actually has done their due diligence to show you their true trading performance and all that, it makes them stand out. And then, to your point too, like, I love content creating, I love filming, I love coming up with we do a lot of live streams here, and like, I just there was a time where for me, I was trading full time and also just making YouTube. So I guess I wasn't like full time, but I was like making a YouTube video and just editing it myself. And then I would do my trading, and I would really be like done with everything by 11:30 in the morning. And I hated it because it was like so boring for the rest of the day. And I wanted coworkers, and I wanted to like share ideas with people. And I, changed to, what we do, which is on the software business side. We're like building tools, and that's my background. So I love building stuff and creating stuff like you do. So it's like, uh, the concept of like, oh, course sellers don't, that they don't actually trade. Well, I found this out. I thought this was interesting. Warren Buffett, who is, people like to say like, oh, did Warren Buffett ever sell a course? And while he didn't sell a course, Warren Buffett to this day actually charges for events. So you can pay Warren Buffett to speak at your event. So is
Okay,
Warren
okay.
Buffett a course selling, fake guru monster?
Debunked.
Something to think about.
Fair. Beautiful point. I love that.
Yeah. So you can't steal that though. That's just for me. I'm just kidding.
All right,
You
fine.
can steal it if you want it.
I
I
try
just
to
thought,
go with the athlete analogy, where if it's a really good athlete and he takes endorsements for Nike or Gatorade, does that make him any less of a good athlete? That's the one I usually go to, but I'm gonna opt for that one.
pretty good. That's a good one too. Okay, we can just trade. We can swap them. You take that one. I'll take yours.
Fair.
Okay, so next one is this one's. So I'm going to say right off the bat, I don't agree with this, but I saw in your episode with Riz and the other ladies you're sharing the table with, the concept of you guys getting the hate of women can't trade, or learning from a woman is like somehow lesser than, which I thought was crazy, and I just wanted to chat with you about. And you also mentioned with your conversation with Riz just how, like men, we don't get appearances talked about. Like when I'm on camera, I never, sometimes people say I have a baby face. So I guess I get that, but that's like
I get
my,
that too.
so I don't know. I wanted to get your thoughts just on that in terms of, maybe there are some ladies who listen. It's a small percentage. I wish it was more of my channel that is ladies. What would you say to them about that? Like women can't trade, or just in general, like what is your thought on that topic? And you shouldn't have to defend it at all, but because it's just not true. At the end of the day,
Yeah.
track records are track records. But what are your thoughts?
This has been a concept that I've been trying to wrap my head around since my uncle taught me. And there's so many different things that come into play. So, I mean, first and foremost, obviously, women can trade. That is point blank, period. But now that I'm at a level to where I've been trading for as long as some of the other guys in the space. How long? You've been trading for 9-10 years too now?
About 8.
8 years, okay. And maybe we're actually on the same level. Maybe I should be comparing myself to you and not these other guys, because it's killing me. I'm like, I've been trading for 9 years, and they're making millions, if not at least a singular million in a year in trading. And I'm like, I'm only in the $100,000 mark, and it's been 9 years. And some people, I feel like I'm going to go too far on a tangent here. Maybe I should just keep it. We'll keep it in the women.
No, you're good. Keep going.
So, and then the negative comments on social media, to where some of them are like, my strategy is elementary. It doesn't work. And now I'm getting a new type of insecurity here. People are like, you should be making way more now that you've been trading for 9 years. You shouldn't be bragging about $100,000 for halfway through the year. And I'm like, which one should I be insecure about? Should it be that my strategy doesn't work, or should it be that I should be much farther along than I am? So it's just, but anyways, those are some new insecurities. But it's going back to the women and trading. Here we go. Full circle here. Full circle. I was comparing myself to these other guys, and I'm like, is it because women have too much of a, like, they're not able to risk, like they need that stability, they need that structure. So when it comes to scaling, maybe women don't scale as fast or as far as quickly as some of these guys in the trading industry, or just traders in general. That was something that's been on my mind lately. But when it comes to just women in trading, I think we're excellent. I think we're visual. I think we don't have to put too much on the line. Our risk tolerance is level, is fair, is small. Or if I'm saying that backwards, but I just think I think women are excellent traders, but the thing that I'm trying to wrap my head around is like, why can't I scale as much as these guys? And is it because I've got like a ceiling? Is it the chemical makeup of being a female versus guys are like, I need to be a provider, I have to put it all on the line? It's just some things that I've wondered, and I'd be fascinated to hear your opinion on, your trading style. You seem very like, you keep the risk minimal, even though people are telling you could just leverage this. Like what's keeping you level and not wanting to do what I'm trying to do and just, what do we need to do to get a Bugatti?
Yeah, no, that's fair. I actually think that you made some excellent points there, because one thing that I've like been preaching about like the most for me is like risking appropriately is just so important. Even if you have a great strategy, even if you have a great approach, even if you're just the best dang trader at calling the markets that I've ever seen, you're still going to have periods where you're just off and wrong and losing streaks. And where I think, to your point about like women just generally have a bit more, at least from my experience in the ones that I've worked with, they have a more like tolerance to go slow at first and
Right.
to take, take it easy. And that's actually something kind of natural to me as well. Like I would consider myself, like always have been, a conservative risk taker. Like I'm down to start a business. I'm down to, get into trading, but I want to know what I'm looking at and doing first. I don't want to just like jump 2 feet in. And I think that that has served me really well in my trading career. And what I've noticed is that seems like more frequently, a lot of the ladies that I've worked with in the trading community have that as
Mm-hmm.
well. And I
Yeah.
think that that serves people really well, because I actually think that the ego thing is like the biggest trap for traders in general. And it can be male, female. It's not, limited to one or the other, but like ego, trying to go too fast, trying to
Yeah.
scale up too quickly, is a recipe for disaster. In terms of the concept you mentioned, just about like comparing upwards to people, we got to think about this, Tori, too. Like there are people on the other side who are like looking at us and they're like,
You're
oh
so
my
right.
gosh, Tori, she just made $30,000 in a single trade. That's my entire salary for the whole year. And, Nick, he's doing this and that. And I think that, that's the danger of comparing, because we also don't know where these people come from. What
Yeah.
if someone inherited from a trust fund like 10 million freaking dollars, and they're just trading it and still just risking very small, and like their returns look like monster returns? It's just
Yeah.
not a fair comparison. Now, if we knew, Tori, that like 10 years ago, all of us started with $10,000, that was at our capital basis. And you and I were looking at it, same amount of time, same amount of effort we feel, and they were making $1 million a year, and we're sitting there like trying to make $20,000 a year or something like that. At that point, then I would be right there. I'd be like, okay, this is some BS. But I think
That's
that it's,
fair.
yeah, you know what I mean. So I think that's like the full my full response to that.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. That's very valid, very fair.
Okay, so that's all I had for agree or disagree. But I did have another question for you, Tori, because I listened to your episode with Riz, and the round table, and you actually were talking about something that I thought was interesting, because it triggered me into thinking about the same kind of concept, which was you were talking about like your long-term goals and like how that was kind of like something that you're trying to think about, and that it kind of is intimidating. I feel the same way. Like I'm like, okay, I'm hitting a lot of goals for myself, and you are as well. I'm still on the goal of trying to get a better setup than you. I don't think that will ever happen. But you know what I mean? Like I've hit a lot of my goals, and I'm sitting there, I'm thinking, what is my next step? Like, what are my next goals? Since that podcast, which I know was filmed a couple months, have you thought about that at all? Like, have you been thinking about like, are there things that you want to do, and maybe in your trading career, your trading journey, where like you want to see yourself go in the coming years?
Yeah. Since that podcast, thinking of like long-term financial comfortability, there's also a black hole of information, and it's you probably saw the little tidbit where I'm trying to figure out real estate and infinite banking and life insurance policies and high yield savings accounts and universal blah la 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 la, all of these
Mm-hmm.
things, which is very intimidating, and I would rather pay somebody to educate me on all of
Mm.
that instead of pay the price of doing it incorrectly. So I feel like that translates over to trading. But
Yes.
long-term goals, I have to start thinking much more outside the box because I am becoming comfortable. And yesterday was so, when I did this like this complete dissect of every single trade, the beginning, I showed the statements for each month. I went over the beginning balance, the ending balance, the entry, the exit, the risk, how long I was in the trade, where my lines were, like a full on dissection of my trades this year. And I actually was a little bit bummed that I'm coming to find that my focus on trading wasn't as much as I wanted it to be. This year I did get distracted with like content creation and education and having a team and trying to get into other forms of investments and real estate. And I found that I did get distracted, and it kind of bummed me out a little bit to where I am ToriTrades. Like, I got to get back to the roots. There were so many missed opportunities, and the setups were mediocre. And, I'm walking around hotshot. I made $130,000, $140,000 this year. And then when I go back and look at it, I'm like, yeah, but I'm not actually that proud about it, which is maybe that's me trying to be, too humble or being too hard on myself. But I went back and just saw excellent setups where I think we were both in a trade. We were both in crude oil. I think we were in the same trade at one point this year. Was that your record trade, the crude oil one? Or no, maybe it was gold. Gold was your record.
Gold, I think gold was my biggest trade this year. Yeah. Okay.
Well, I think you were able to capitalize on more of the crude oil where I clipped out early, but it's things like that where I'm going back and I'm like, man, the focus is going to have to shift back. But long-term goals, like trading is always going to be number one. I want to be the best trader that I can be, not the best one. Cause if we're talking other traders out there, other strategies, mine is so minuscule in comparison, but I want to be the best version of a trader that I can possibly be. I want to do better. So it's always going to be to be a better trader. But I think if I can find balance between everything, in best case scenario, like I do love creating content. It'd be crazy cool to be on like, TV for something, or like a show, or a newscast, or whatever it may be. That just sounds way cool, like something crazy like that. Thinking of investment properties, thinking of vacation homes. Like I have to sit down and actually, I'm at a very pivotal moment right now where I'm like, man, I'm doing great. I've got this crazy snowball effect of like how long it's taken me to get to where I am now. And the goals are just, bigger and bigger, and we're hitting them so much faster. So that is the toughest question you could possibly ask me. So I just got to think, I got to think way bigger, way outside the box.
I mean, I think that's a good answer, because there's never really that's the hardest question to anybody. Like, I know that the most dreaded, job interview question people always get asked is like, what do you see yourself doing in 5 years? And that's like, I don't know what I'm going to do at 5 p.m. tomorrow. So
yeah.
So I don't know. That's always a difficult question, but I was curious to hear your thoughts. But I think that's, I'm the same way. Like, I want to buy a house at some point. That's scary. Like mortgages, what the heck is all that? And then, like trying to figure out long-term, financials and insurance and all this stuff. It's like so much adulting stuff that I just don't want to do. But
I know.
I think that's a good point you made about like paying someone to educate you so that you save yourself money in the long run. I wish more people would think like that. I know I have not always thought like that. And that's such a good point. Like, just pay the price once rather than paying it, way more than you should. So I think I could see you doing so many different things too. With like, if you were to get into, I know you mentioned like a talk show host or like television or something. You could totally do that. Like, I could see you doing that. That would be fun.
That'd be so cool.
I see myself doing something similar. Like, I love the idea of doing like talk show hosts and interviews and stuff like we're doing right now. It's just fun to talk to people and learn stuff from each person. So that's all I've got for you, Tori. Thank you for coming back on again, guys. If you don't already follow Tori, we're going to put all the socials of hers in the description down below. And Tori, thank you again for your time and for episode number 2.
All right. Thanks for having me, Nick.
And finally, before we close out this video, I did also want to shout out one last time Vantage Markets, who made this video possible and supported our work here between Tori and I going through all these great conversations and questions. Remember that a broker that is looking to invest in offering great value to the community like Vantage is by sponsoring videos like this, I would ask that you take a second, even if you just open a demo account and check out Vantage and their resources, to consider supporting us by checking out our sponsor, Vantage, down below in the description. And as a special thank you for today's video sponsor, Vantage, I also wanted to make sure that you guys checked them out on social media. If you enjoyed all those little tidbits from what they offer, then you can make sure to find them on Instagram, YouTube, etc. Thanks for watching.